Hello, everyone, again. Thank you for joining this webinar. What I'm going to cover in this is walk you through the main fundamentals of CrawlQ, why this tool is different from rest of the tool, so that you can understand what we are trying to achieve, what is our objective with CrawlQ, and how it can really help you in the content creation process. So let me directly jump into the tool if that is fine, because this is still kind of a hands-on session. We'll touch upon the functionality or any aspect, any question we will take on board. This is the interface of the tool, right? Once you are logged in, then you have the interface of the tool. In this interface, what you immediately see is a lot of boxes, and it's very overwhelming. So we'll try to do it in bits and pieces, small pieces. So actually, when you first time log in, you are directed to a questionnaire, and you can create a workspace here and attach it to a domain name. I already have a workspace, so I will start with an existing workspace. Workspace means you give it your name and you give it a domain name which is associated with your workspace. This is essential because it gives us from the very beginning a flow in terms of our particular workspace, which is devoted to a particular workflow of the content process. And then we can attach it to one domain. Now you can create 10 multiple workspace. You can also create multiple workspace for single domain if that is a use case for you. You can also create multiple 10 workspace for 10 different domain if that is the use case for you. You could be a founder, you could be a content writer, you could be a marketer, it can be a mix of things, right? So it really depends on the use case, what you are trying to achieve, and where you are in the process of your content journey or business strategy regarding the content. Does that make sense? I have one more. I got another question from Gregory. Yes, please shoot in question. That's very, then it becomes very interactive. Can software be used without a domain? Yes, if you are in a very initial stage of your product discovery, service discovery, you are having a business idea, and definitely you don't have a domain yet. But then there are some functionalities of the tool which might be impacted or might not be impacted. It depends on the use case. But if you don't have a domain, nothing to worry. You can start with a project name and just simple example.com. But then we are not touching on the some fundamental ideas like topic modeling or some search engine optimization features, right? Because that works with the domain. But of course, once you build the website, you start creating content, you will be using that domain in this process. So before I go into the nitty gritties, what I really want to walk you through, like on a very high level bird's eye view of this framework. So most of the time when you start your business, I think Gregory, you're in the process of setting up the website, right? So this is the right moment when you're talking to your marketers or team or anyone or yourself, you're looking on the Google how to start it, like looking for a website to start, right? It could be in WordPress or could be a different CMS or could be something completely different. You might want to build your own uh, engine from the scratch, like content management system, CMS. The first thing that you hear from your marketer is about search engine optimization. So you start putting some content and everyone is telling you that we need to optimize some content for the search engine for the Google. You download some, if you're using WordPress, you download Yoast SEO plugin and immediately someone tell you that you should start looking for the money making keywords, right? Another question popped up from Clifford, should be based on brand, so it can incorporate multiple domains such as example.com and beexample.com. Definitely, if this brand, suppose we are trying to target multiple brands or a brand is associated with domains, you can be flexible in combining this, right? So brand crawlq.example.com or another brand.example.com. As long as we are focusing on one specific buyer persona, and I will come to that later. As long as we are focusing on this target audience and we have our workspace and domain associated with this framework works. And in cases where you need to have different buyer persona, I will also tell you how we can adapt this framework, right? Another question from Gregory is, I want to keep a general workstation, or call it workspace, to do copywriting for some e-commerce and affiliate products. That is also possible, that you just identify a representative domain, right? You might think that medium.com or something which is a representative domain, and you are trying to focus on multiple content pieces. So you can still try to keep that representative domain, but still the framework, you might be focusing on a specific group of people, right? So you wanted to say workspace 1 focus on this group of people, workspace B focus on this group of people. I hope that answer your question, Gregory. You can definitely take a representative domain in your target industry vertical that you're working with, and that become your main domain, and you can work around with it with several different workspaces, again focusing on a specific buyer persona. Okay, so coming back to my original story, right? Most of the time you are told to start with the keyword research, right? And that keyword research start from keyword planner to different SEO tools, and then you're thrown into this idea of trying to find as much as keywords, right? As much as keywords that you can get, and specifically those keywords which are related with your product and services. Now, what is the goal? The goal is we want to rank on high on search engine so that our audience can find us or we can attract more traffic. Now, of course, this is what it is, right? This has been told to us for last 10 years. It works, and this is what everyone is doing in the market. But if you are noticing the trends which are emerging in the industry, like this whole content automation with pandemic, everyone want to go online. There are millions, maybe, I don't know, I cannot say numbers, but maybe millions of blogs are coming in a week. Could be possible, right? In this very tough competition and everyone want to go online, the quality of the content itself is like primary question mark, right? The quality of the content, the uniqueness of the content. And what has happened over the last 2-3 years, that Google is not anymore a search engine. Google is an answering engine. It's an answering machine. So people are typing exact queries as if they are talking to their friends, or they are talking to any specific counseling therapy. That's something which is really personal to them, which is specific in their specific situation. They are asking questions which directly in the search engine, and that's the reason that whole thing that we have been taught from last 10 years about keyword, and I say long tail keyword, and if you're look hearing this LSI or semantic keyword or semantic SEO, everything that you hear around is all focused on the keywords. And these keywords work well, of course, if you can really identify those, and you can work hard, and you can get 1 or 2 blogs really ranking high on the Google. But what is going to happen, that you might start getting a lot of traffic, but this traffic is not going to convert. Why? Because the moment people come on your website, they start clicking on why us, about us, origin story, homepage, product pages, technical specifications, or some opt-in pages. There could be multiple use cases or case studies. If all these components are not stitched together and not talking one specific story, right, in a semantic and psychographic way, then this a lot of traffic that you're getting from this strategy is going to leak. This traffic is going to drop off. So you are carrying a leaky bucket essentially, right? And this is what the strategy that we follow most of the time. We start from extreme right. So we start with search engine optimization, when we look for opportunities for automation of the content, we look for different tools. There are also different tools are coming in the market. Whole AI based content automation is heated up sector where with the GPT-3 and other kind of possibilities, everyone think that now with the click of button, we can create stunning blogs, stunning content ideas. And that's how everyone is thinking, right? We are also getting into this whole process. So parking this aside, the story is that everyone start from right hand side, search engine optimization, content automation. Then someone tell them, hey, there's also idea of authority. So you should build an authority website. That means you should start connecting your main topics, subtopics, cluster content, all those ideas. Then someone tell, oh, our competitor is doing something differently. So then you start using competitor analysis. Then after this trial and error, you find out that your target audience, your buyer persona is completely someone different and your messages are not resonating, because now you can understand why this is not resonating, because our foundational point, like our starting point, was this assumption that we wanted to rank high on the Google and get our target audience. But why we are doing this long route when we can start directly from the left side? So this is your market research. And when I say market research, is really deep diving into the semantics and psychographics of your target audience. And the result that here we are going to achieve is deep diving into the different aspects of your buyer persona. And ultimately, what we are going to discover is long tail keywords, perhaps. Even we are going to discover not only long tail keywords, but exactly the things that your buyer persona is typing in the Google search to get them answers. So deeply connected meanings of the words. So that is semantics. Psychographics means their emotions, desires, suspicions, mistake, fears, all those things that make them to, put their credit card digit and write and give the details for anything that they buy. So if we start from this point, then we are still going to same route, but we are going to get not only right traffic, but we are also going to convert this traffic in a way which optimize our ROI on the content strategy. So the fundamental principle is still remains same, that before we start our online business, we really go deep dive into our target audience. And that will help us not only to create a content strategy, but that will also help us to reshape our original idea about our product services. Because doing this exercise, you might come across, you might be intellectually challenged to come across different perspectives, angles that you might not have thought earlier. So this is the whole idea of doing the market research. And I think this framework was essential because most of the tool out there in the market, everyone is trying to focus on the optimization for SEO and search engine for Google, right? Here, what we are trying to do is we are trying to optimize our content strategy for our buying persona, for our target audience, with a deep dive research into it. And all this information that we are going to create here is mapped to the different content automation process. So that was kind of high level idea. So starting point is really deep dive into the niche, right? And when I say niche, let me explain what is this whole structure is. So first I'm going to understand an information, a complete deep dive information into my niche. It's okay if you don't want to start deep dive, you can also take a shortcut. But the shortcut that you take, of course, is going to end up with creating something which is more experimental. And you can come back again and enrich this information as you get more and more better in understanding deeply your customer, right? So who is my target audience? What are the current environments and trend impacting them, right? So it's always you have a customer path and you have the environments and trends, like currently the pandemic and different stages of the pandemic, and depending your industry vertical, there could be more trends. So always customer path and the environmental path, they intersect. And then you have something, you have product, or service or an idea. From this, you're making a promise. So your niche, your target audience, or as a buyer persona, I keep changing these terms, right? But the whole thing is whom you're selling, they have in a specific state. So they are in their current state. They are also traveling along with you in a specific environmental path, right? In a specific customer path. They are in their current state. They are looking for things for better, cheaper, faster to reach into a happy state, state two in their journey, right? They are moving along with us. So we have state one, we have state two, and then we have a product or service or coaching, whatever you can call, is a promise. That is your promise, to take them from their current state to their desired state. And then associated with that promise, your product or service is actually a transformation mechanism. It's a vehicle that will take them from this current state to their desired state, right? So this promise that you make to your target audience is very important. It's your niche headline. Its headline is everything that you promise, and it must be backed by later on case studies, testimonials, even raw screenshots that you could take your target audience by using a specific transformation mechanism, that is your product or service, from their current state to future state. Then associated with this are the specific activities and unique and useful insights that you share as an education to your target audience, right? So there is a difference between activities and unique and useful insights. So activities are the jobs that your target audience need to do in order to take themselves from current state to the desired state. And the unique and useful insights are the education, is your marketing, is the machinery behind your promise, which will take them to their desired state. And then there are jobs or activities they need to do.
Hello. I think a certain quantity is included in the lifetime deal, and wondering how you get more if it's not stackable.
Oh, yeah. So, of course, you have the 10 workspace, 10 domains, right? And if you wanted to use one more account, then we were not allowed actually from AppSumo to stake the code because we are marketplace deal. You can definitely buy another code and then get another 10 code and 10 domain, right? Thus currently the deal is not stakeable, but you have all the features in the deal. So nothing here is differentiated based on these features and limitation, except the limitations on the page, 10,000 page, which we have still honestly not worked out fully, like how we are going to establish this. Does that answer your question, Clifford?
It cut out on my end, but I think I heard you say that you can just have a new transaction at AppSumo to just buy packs 10, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just buy
Thank
another code and then you can add 10 more workspaces. So that was the starting point. And of course, once you have your business idea maturing, you are going to get case studies. You are going to be very clear about what the benefits and outcome of your service product. You are going to get testimonials. You are going to refine your ideas. So you can come later bit on this. But the starting point is obviously important, that you really want to deep dive into your target audience. So let's jump into a little bit more. I had created a workspace, which is a company which hosts virtual events, and I predefined some of this information. So this particular business was targeting small, medium businesses and sales managers. And we further narrow it down. So we say small, medium business owners, SMB business owners, and sales manager who are interested in virtual events. So we started with high level niche, then we went to sub niche, and we further went down into micro niche. So micro niche was really, really specific. Then we are saying we are targeting SMBs, business owners, and sales manager who are interested in higher engagement and sales using virtual events. So see how specific we have gone from SMBs and sales manager. Even for you, it might be still like on a counterintuitive way, you might be thinking why we are going into very, very narrow path. We need to really target more people. But the way it works is like the amount of marketing energy, right? The marketing effort you need to reach out masses, right, is much more higher when you narrow down your focus. Then the message that you're going to create is highly specific, highly resonating, and the amount of marketing effort that you need is less in this situation. Of course, then there are several factors. Which stage of market maturity you are, is your product is first claimed to your market, or there are competitor products out there. There's so many factors, right? But still this approach help us to frame our mindset that, hey, this is what my target audience and how I am going to present my service or product to solve the specific pain point of this target audience. So then, of course, vertical was virtual event management planning services. An ideal prospect in this case was, my ideal customer is a middle-aged SMB business owner and sales manager who want to use virtual event to get higher engagement and sales. Now, it might be daunting that, it's very difficult to start thinking in this approach. So it's very important that you get help here. So there are a lot of definitions here, like what defines a niche. And also I have put here, like, for your help, this is like really a good eye opener if you are not used to this thought process, right? In this whole kind of document, what we are going to cover is how to define your target audience avatar in a way which you can actually use it, right? That's most important. You can do demographics and you can go to LinkedIn, you can make some reports, but how to define it in a way which you can actually use it in your content strategy and in refinement of your product or service ideas. Why to define your target audience, right? Tools, what tools you are going to use. So I'm not going to cover all of this, but it is very important. It is really, really important to focus on one person at one time. Why? Because you need to understand this, because this person you want to know, yeah, you want to know this person more than themselves, and you can take this person on a coffee date. This is most important, that you know this person such a well, because this is a real person. Your niche is a real person. They have the emotions, dreams, desires, feelings. They have the troubles, they have the worries, they have the suspicions, they have interest, they have groups that they belong to, their failures. They have a lot of things in common, right? This is actual person. Be it B2B or B2C, it really doesn't matter. It's your economic buyer. He has a specific desire, he's in a specific situation, and they want to go to a specific outcome or their future state. So this is really important that we understand our niche in a specific person. And what is not a niche is, so as I said in the beginning, someone can tell you that do 100 keyword research, find 10 keywords out of this which has high volume, low CPC, and then ultimately you're going to optimize your website for top 3 keywords. But believe me, these keywords, right, or the number of impressions or searches that you see, the keywords are not buying from you. The searches are not buying from you. People who are actual people like me and you, which has emotions, which has dreams, desires, they are actually in the process. The keywords and all those things, this is not niche. So you have to know these people and what they have in common, what groups they belong to, right? So it's very important. So it goes into quite detail, and I call my buyer persona Fred, and Fred has fears. Fred want to achieve results. Fred has expectations. Fred has desires. My ideal customer, for example, is B2B SaaS founder who has fears, results, expectations, and desires. This is how you will define in an abstract, right? So a customer avatar is your abstract version of this real life person. Why do we need to define our Fred? It's quite important to understand what approach should we take. Why should we focus first on psychographics, then demographics? What is the secret code to your audience brain? Why niche semantics are required for content automation? Why is location important, vertical important? There's a lot of information here which directly connected with information that we are seeing here. So your niche, your demographics, your semantics, there is a helper text here, and there's also AI generated insights out here in the lower section. So now you may ask me that, hey, this is a lot of information out there, right? How we are going to fill this? And I'm stuck. I don't know where to start. So here what we made, or we are trying to make more and more better, is like just you come up with one or two ideas and let this thing fill up itself. So I don't think that's a good idea to show it here because we need this information. This is sort of like essential information. But when you are into your demographics and then you are stuck, right? You define your website name, you have company name, then you don't basically need to like you have to verify all these details because they are your actual details. But we can get some help, assistance here, right? I'm just going to manually take them out and I will show that how we can fill it with AI. But when I say AI, it's definitely using our first hand information that we put here, right? So I just put the company name, then I put the legal name of the company, Marcus Event, role and title, co-owner, CEO. This person is 36 years of age. Gender of these people are women. They are located in Ontario, Canada. Actually, this website and this whole thing that I did research was a event organization company, a software which help basically to plan the online virtual events, right? So all this information is picked up automatically. An occupation, let's see, virtual event management planning service, marital status, experience, blah, 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 education. Now, I'm not saying that this is all correct information. This is to help you to come up with a starting point. And once you save this information, you can also generate additional insights based on this. And then once you read those insights, this is still in the beta state, but it will help you to further refine your idea. So initially when we started, this was not there. We recently added in last 2 week back, where we can now say truly AI assisted market research. And here you get a lot of information again, like what kind of business do I want to be in, what problem I will solve for my customer, who is my audience. There are a lot of questions that you will go through and help that you will go through. So your company business name is virtual event management planning service. This is your job title. How to create a Google My Business profile for this company. So don't think at this stage we are writing text or we are automating text. We are crawling the intelligence out of a 9-year-old kid. We have told that this is my business, this is my sub niche, micro niche, this is my vertical, this is my ideal prospect view. Now I'm just talking to a 9-year-old kid and trying to get more information. And the information that we get here is much in the form of insights. These insights will help you further. So it's also giving you like, hey, well, what kind of main traffic channel you can use for this? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, website theme color. Your website is light blue. Is giving some random advices. Sometime you will laugh at it, right? And sometime you will seriously think that you have not really thought about this. Now I go to next step. So it was similarly I filled it like I filled two topics here, and then it gives me all the topics. And when I say these are again not keywords, these are really in-depth semantics that we wanted to cover in order to build the content pieces later. Then psychographics. When I say psychographics, is like what is a single big shocking statement or a research or a piece of information that might be really telling people that our niche or target audience, that they always think that that is true, but the truth is opposite of what they think, right? So this is like a statement which you can use in a copy, single big emotional payoff. And this is all then once I fill this to information, this is all filled up using the fill with AI option. So here it got me an something different URL, which is not the URL of the original website. But you can see like how this information can be validated by you once you get some direction. So we are steering with you. You started some initial information, and now AI is steering you to come up with ideas and insights. And you are using these insights and ideas to refine this information. I think I have a question. Please go ahead. First one was from Clifford. Can you add multiple personas such as single website having content for beginner type potential customer versus expert website visitors? So idea again, I want to go back here and I want to say that when multiple personas, actually we are confused sometimes. When I say the persona, buyer persona, is the person who is going to sign, right? Is a signature on the check, the payment process, right? He is the main person who is also emotionally connected with what you are helping with your product and service. And this is the person who will ultimately get gratification, self-actualization or happy state, right? With using your tools and services. Now, this person can be a founder, this person can be a person who is heading the vendor team, if it's a serious B2B company, right? It could be someone CMO of the company. But always, along with this economic buyer, there are people who are either influencers, so they influence the decision making process. Like if I'm targeting a big bank, then maybe the CFO of this bank is my economic buyer because this person has the budget, he's going to sign the final check, right? But there are people, let's say vendor management, because any tool they are going to use in the bank, there is a process, there's a vendor management. This vendor management is not economic buyer. The person who is heading the vendor management department is not going to ultimately get this gratification, happiness, right, of taking their bank from current state to future state, or this person himself. I think I should talk about this person, CFO, right? So in this particular case, these are the influencers. And then there are some users of the tools. So it could be business analyst, quantitative analyst, or people in the sitting in the marketing department if they are using CrawlQ. They are users. So they are not our buyer persona. And in order to address them, we should create use cases rather than we create buyer persona. But of course, it depends on your specific situation. In the affiliate situation, you want to create variations of the buyer persona, you want to create different persona, but don't put all the persona in one workspace and domain. Try to create an A/B test. So put another variation in the different workspace, third is workspace, because the results that we are going to create are getting influenced by the inputs that we have. Every input that we have is systematically mapped. It is my intention to show you spreadsheets or databases, but I don't want to just say it. I want to show you also that anything, what is your niche here, is has a specific mapping on the MRR mapping, is market research and resonance mapping. So we have mapped the information for you. Once you start putting your ideas here, they are going to influence your content, scripts, and AI content writer, whatnot in the end. But I want to spend really good time on this because this might already take you 1 week or maybe one day to just fill some information. And if you are just want to do some quick short things, then just fill this niche at least, niche on this first 7-8 questions. And then you're ready to jump into different process. But then we are going to tell you, hey, because you not have filled out all the information, so the quality of the content that you're creating is at par or substandard than what you could have achieved when you have filled all the information.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So what's the best way to fill out the information? For example, if you are a construction company and you serve both residential, like your target persona might be like a doctor's wife would be that buyer, versus you also serve commercial customers. So that would be, a totally separate buyer, but the only distinction to the business is that we sell, we do our service for both high-end residential and commercial.
Right, right. So generally there is commonality, right, between these personas. So if you are addressing commonalities, then you're not going to really touch. If you're saying doctor's wife, right, then she is a specific person in a specific situation. And if you wanted to make a connection with her, with your content, with your headline, with your promise, it is very difficult to make same time a connection with another person. So ideally, if you really want me to make this statement very honestly, right, then you would have two separate websites, definitely, for these two persons separate. But I don't want to make that statement to disappoint of you if you really disappoint you, but I want to be very direct that what going to work, what we are trying to do here, we are trying to establish our authority on the topic. So when I say authority on the topic, this doctor's wife is not going to see you authority if you are also talking about a big commercial construction persona who is going to buy from you, and then you are also describing their pain point. It's same thing, like right? If I have a specific medical checkup, then and I'm looking really specific thing, then I will go to a specialist, right? And if you throw me an advertisement board on the newspaper that you are also checking for this disease, this disease, I'm not going to go there, right? This exactly here. So if I want to be very honest with you and direct, then you would use separate websites. But now people have some ideas to try it out. You might also have separate use cases or landing pages, addressing them. So you can map your journey of your customer in a way where they land only on that pages which is specifically created for doctor's wife. Then you have separate journey or a funnel. When user click through them, they land on a page which is specifically created for high net worth commercial real estate, or is director of the big company and is looking to expand his office expansion, or whatever this person is, right?
I agree having customized content for each. My question is like adding in all of the company information and kind of setup. Is that two separate accounts or websites or whatever you want to call it in the CrawlIQ dashboard?
Basically, these are different workspaces, but what we are trying to achieve, and this should not be difficult for us, is just to clone, right? If you can clone your information from one workspace to other workspace, then you just need to change some of the parameters. And that's the question from Marco as well. When you have defined niche, sub-niche, and micro-niche, can you come back? Yeah, of course. You can again come back here. Instead of SMBs and sales manager, I want to say SMBs and virtual sales assistants. There's some but you can save this information back again, right? And then, of course, it's going to change your setup, because now the suggestions or the insights might come slightly different, right? Because we are saying it's virtual sales assistant. So we can save this information. It is saved in database. Next time I refresh and I go to this page again, you will see my updated information, virtual sales assistant. Now when I fill with AI, I might see different result. Generate insight, I might see different result, because I have changed a specific parameter of this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The spreadsheet you had up a little while ago with the questions, is that a list of prompts that we would be asking the customer that we could use? Is that a separate list to start the conversation with them?
There are several scripts that we are adding. I have not covered it yet, but there are several scripts that we are adding. So all this information that you have filled it here, you can also ask your customer. So because if you are managing agency, if you are managing 10 customers, then I would ask them some information, initial information. I would fill this information, create a PDF report. I'll tell them this, hey, this is my research on your buyer persona. Can you verify this? And if they have some comments, then I will go and modify it back here. So yes, these are the questions that you are asking. What I showed you here was my internal database and linkage. Suppose now we are adding a new script in our AI content writer. So you should be able to generate business FAQs, and this business FAQ you can use for different purposes, for closing the sales call, for putting FAQs on a pricing page. But this is all this information that niche, micro niche, desired metrics. This is coming from here. This whole information. So why I showed that spreadsheet is to really convince you guys that whatever you are doing here, it is mapped in the tool to the different content process. We have not yet seen like those things where I was just spending a lot of time here. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I'm trying to suggest you to do everything at one time. Is while doing this exercise, of course, you are challenged intellectually and from the business point of view, and it might also give you ideas that you might want to refine your product or service value proposition. So take that exercise, not only just focused on content, because in this particular tool, I would say, of course, there is this thing which is getting quite general and popular that now with a single click, with 3-4 information, you should be able to create a stunning blog which rank on the page 1 of Google. Yeah, yes, it is possible, but this is just like short-lived fun, because ultimately all this AI which is getting generated, this whole thing is trained on the website, the whole internet data, right? So information that is being pulled is a text. But what we are here trying to do is not asking an AI, because we have, when I say AI, let's call it GPT-3, but we have much more layers before we go to GPT-3, right? So what we are doing with AI is we are trying to generate intelligence rather than just make the text, because whatever information I ask it to generate a long form content or short form content, it is going to reproduce which is already there on the internet. But here we are trying to generate more insights. So it's in this step. Of course, we are also using it to generate text, but not really like the idea that we put 3-4 information and then we are ready for different contents. So I want to debunk that idea. If you have that idea, it is of course great, and there are many tools who can do that job. But the job that we are trying to achieve here is really challenge ourselves that whether we know really our target audience well or not. This is kind of bit fundamental differentiation. Now let me jump back a bit quickly because I have spent a lot of time already, and I'm sure it can get difficult or boring if I not touch other aspect of the tool. So the second idea is, even if you know your target audience well, which is really hard, I can tell you, it's you will realize yourself while doing this exercise. It's really hard to break into the nerves of the people, what they're thinking. It's really hard. So even if you did this exercise well, but still everything that you produce as a content is perceived by your target audience being valuable or not valuable in relation to your competitors, right? So you have competitors out there. It's same thing, like I'm going to a restaurant, every time I'm ordering the same dish, and one day chef comes and surprise me with a new dish, and I test it and I find it valuable, right? So out of these competing dishes that are being served to your ideal customer, you need to stand out in this crowd. And this is very important then to also understand who are your competitors, right? So of course, I'm not claiming that this tool on its own right can help this, because you need to really deep dive into some competitor strategy, might be using other tools. But of course, there are some tools here which can help you to get started. And whole idea here is, again, we are trying to understand their semantics and what kind of topics they are targeting. So the moment, of course, so I want to take this example. So in this, you have direct competitors. So if you know your direct competitors, you can use this. If you know a specific product page or blog, then also you can compare these two pages. Or if you know like one or two topic that was your main semantics, like in this case, we are talking about virtual online event. So I just put this word and I put the target country as America, US, and then I try to get some information. So these are the main topics, or I get a keyword cloud. These are the trending topics: the virtual online event platforms, virtual online event ideas, virtual online event software, B2B online events. You see there are a lot of these trending topics that are there for competitors also. Then there is a specific competition on this. So Eventbrite, event event manager blog, see event, blog.bizabo.com. These are the competitors, and it really narrow down when you're searching with a specific country, location. Then if you're talking about e-commerce product, then it will really narrow it down. If I'm putting Dutch as a language and searching from Netherlands, then it will give me result only from the Dutch websites. You can also get some more idea about how different competitors are compared. So it identify top 10 positions, and then suppose if you don't have this tool in your hand, you type virtual online event in Google, then you have top 10 position, but you don't know which of this blog is covering more in the semantics of this topic, right? It's very hard just looking at the results. So here, even though you see the position here of this Eventbrite is at third number, but the semantic score is 87, but the something which is cevent.com is covering, though it is on the fifth rank, but it is covering 96% of this topic itself, like expansion of this topic, virtual online event. You can also go through content summary of each of these competitors. Coming back again, this three like subsections is not supposed to like fully eliminate your own internal like analysis, because you need to really deep dive into your competitor, understand your competitor strategy. And as we learn more about how we are going to achieve this, we are going to add more and more tools here. So anything that you see as boxes, these are the underlying kind of assistant tools to achieve our main objective. We want to deep dive to our target audience. We want to understand our competitors. Third thing, so even if we understand our target audience well, right, which is hard, competitor analysis we did, we understand from semantics point of view, we can have more tools. But if we are doing a shit job with our website, then still we are carrying a leaky bucket. Why? Because still people are going to come here, but if we are not coherently structuring our information on the website, and we are not talking about the semantically related topics, then also it's not going to work, because search engine is confused, your users are confused. So it is very important that you understand as a visual tool on your website what kind of topics you're writing. Now initially there was a question, I don't have website yet, so then this step is not relevant. But once you start putting content on your website, you want to make sure that any additional incremental content you ship on your website has some connection, right, with your market, main topics, semantics. And here is some kind of visualization that you can use. This kind of visualization tool which help you to identify. So main topic was event. So the circle that you see here is a topic. So there is a topic 1, there's a topic 2, topic 3. There are 12 topics here. The topic 1, which is dominated on this website, marqevent.ca, right, is the topic 1 is a collection of the terms. I'm not saying keyword again. I'm saying topic 1, the circle, is a collection of terms which together contribute to this topic 1. And then we can play around with the parameters. So how much each topic, each term is relevant or contributing to topic 1. We can see, but this event, virtual, business, speaker, participant, meeting, attendance, these are all terms which contribute to topic 1. Then topic 2, topic 3, topic 4. Ideally, if I'm targeting only one topic and not interconnected topic, right, then this circle will be biggest one on the centerpiece, and then all smaller circles. That means I'm not authority on the topic. I'm just putting 1 or 2 blog or landing pages, and that's it. So our users will not see us like authority, right? Imagine that all these circles are also overlapping to each other. That means that we are putting a lot of duplicate content. We are not creating a semantic variation of the topic, because ultimately what search engine want, Google also want. I don't know how it is embedded into their algorithms, but they are saying that the authority website is a website where users can get all the answer at one place. That's their definition of the authority website. Users also, once they land, And if they start getting all their answers at one place, then they start considering yourself as an authority in this field. That is the definition of authority. You don't have to be a super philosopher or author of 5 books to be called as authority, right? If you are in this context creating a specific set of content which are interrelated and which are coherent, and this is what is represented on your website, because your website is a business card, right? Then you are creating authority. This idea of the authority here, and that's what we wanted to do here. So we start with understanding our customers' path and the pain points. We try to understand who are our competitors. We try to understand how we are going to build the information architecture on our website. So combined with these 3 elements, we can jump into the content automation. And that's where fun part is there. And this content automation, I say, I don't want to confuse you with a single click creation of the blog pages. But what I want to tell is all the information that we started is mapped into this process. So you can start with a sales copywriting research or sales copywriting. When I say copywriting, these are the more than 200 scripts that we have collected on the internet. So what is happening here, that we are working with a specific framework in the script. When I say copywriting script, it is built on a specific formula, right? So this kind of persuasive techniques are already part in it. We call it maybe neuro-linguistic pattern, right? It's already embedded in that copywriting formula. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? So what we want to do is we want to capture all the information, project that information into these scripts, and want to generate a content. That's a simple idea here with using the scripts. Then we can also use text summarizer. So we can summarize the existing information, be it our competitors, be it in our website or a representative website, right? In that case, we can take one blog at a time, put this content here and summarize. For example, I just wanted to take one URL. I want to get 80 words summary out of it. I can use this for my Facebook post or optimize it for LinkedIn, right? So this is like how you can summarize the content. What you can do here is you can take this content and again rewrite this content. So any kind of LinkedIn post, Facebook post, Instagram thing that is going around, you find it is interesting, it is arising curiosity in your mind, and you think it's fit for your target audience, you can spin this out. But this is not a normal spinning tool. We also switch on our domain specific terms. When I switch this domain specific terms, that I am switching on the mappings that I just showed in this spreadsheet. When I switching on this mapping, that means that I'm taking care of my branded terms. I'm taking care of my niche research while I'm trying to rewrite some text. So it takes into account your branded terms, and it has rewritten this into 89.53% semantically similar with this original text. I can slide it here and again rewrite, and then I will get another respin of the text. But all the time, I'm not going to deviate from my original branded terms. I can find here more common terms, uncommon terms, emotional words, power words. You can use this as a flow. You wanted to create text snippets, so you can go through different competitor websites, your own website, create this kind of text snippets, repurpose them, optimize them, and use it for social media posts. So this was one workflow. Coming back here, there are different scripts here. So your headline scripts, your sales letter scripts, email scripts. There are more than 50, 60 different types of autoresponders, day 1, day 2, day 3, based on different topics, webinar scripts. This whole webinar thing that I have created here is based on this script. So this is a live example of how content initially mapped, and then using a script, I created a webinar script. For this, how to automate sales and SEO content that answers questions of your target audience. It has a welcome intro. It has my webinar goals, who I am, my background, how does this relate to you, results, what we are going to cover in this webinar, what is secret one or unique and useful insight that we are going to share with our target audience. So you see, it's kind of a framework that is mapped, and it's not like this content is not like generated with single click and it spit out the output. No, because when we generate this script, let me show you. That's a good idea. Can we create our own template? Yes, that's what we are working. So if you are a copywriter or if you wanted to have your own experimentation, so you can pull my niche. This is my promise headline. This is my single big pain point. This is my solution statement. So we are trying to that and give you all the elements that you need to build your own script. So let me go back and show it in action. So for example, here for this particular thing, I chose a script. So I want to create a content authority short sales letter script. Again, same principle apply here. You can again check back if that was the correct information. So this is the correct information, right? We change it, virtual sales assistant. So we are in a project. We can modify the information. We can come back here, check again if everything is okay. If not, we can edit this information back. But this is the essential piece of information that is needed, right, for this process. And I just simply say, I want to create a landing page for my virtual planning software, because that was the service this company provides. They have a software which help people to connect and organize online virtual event. Once I type this, I need to only take care of 2-3 main inputs, and then I switch on this option, fill with AI. Now I don't want to repeat this process, but you can see that, or you will experience it yourself, that all this information that you see down the line is filled automatically. And it's not the idea that you are going to just press the next button. You are still going to verify this information, because I can bet with you the stage of AI is still the starting stage. There's a lot of things are coming like reinforcement learning and everything. Take things with a pinch of salt and then review this information. It's not going to take you long, but imagine that just you fill 2-3 information and how relevant results you will get. You will see it because we have mapped this information with the starting point of a market research. So in fact, we are sending a lot of information to AI and getting the insights which is needed to answer in a very specific way that this script expect to be there, right? Of course, you will see that sometime the output, right? Output has terms which is not like connected together. There will some small changes, but these changes are not, you don't need many changes. You just need like 10% of correction and then you're ready. So I want to create a landing page. So this is the whole script that has been created here using the first starting point. And you will see that, of course, unfortunately, this is not like really formatted script. But what ultimately you will see, like most of these editor that we are trying to change, so you will be able to do exactly what you do in the normal WordPress editor. You can design your own elements, you can make comments. We are changing this whole thing. And because of that, you don't see it look like a landing page. But we have the information like landing page, but because of this limitation of this editor, it is not allowing us to show you how we want to show you. But we are making the change and you will see it like in a very nicely formatted thing, which you can actually take the code out there from here, like this HTML, and then also paste it on your website or on the WordPress thing. So what I wanted to come back is like there are so many scripts that you can use. And now you may be asking, what is this information? So this information is based on, so we combined here combo of the AI data and the Google data. So based on this information, I also take into account all the content that is ranking on top of the Google. So these are all headlines that we got. These are the different paragraphs that we got. And if you are developing or converting this script into a blog or making changes right inside it, you can always take this information. You can also rewrite this information. And again, it is rewritten and in a semantic similarity with the original text, which is 77.18%. So you can reuse this component in the context of what you're writing here. So it is again an additional tool for you to get more information that you need to enrich. You get here like topic scores. So if I go to this, these are all the headlines, these are all the paragraphs, and now these paragraphs are sorted in an order of relevance with my main question. So this was my main question. I want to create a landing page for my online virtual event planning software. And all this information has been sorted in the order which makes semantic connection with this main topic. And of course, we are refining this process more with more advanced, our own internal layer of semantic search. You will see more improvement here. But here you see headlines, you will see all the paragraphs, you see all the topics that you must be talking about. These are again not keywords, these are the topics. So event, virtual, plan, time, virtual event, audience, person, registration, event registration, website. These are the topics that you are going to cover in your landing page, in your blog. So I just want to make a differentiation here between what is a sales-based script and what is a blog. So all this, what I'm showing you is more like a sales-based content, right? But your objective might also be to make it more informative. So it doesn't look exactly in the script way. So you can use this information here. And if this is a product, then we fetch questions from Quora and other databases. If it is really something a SaaS product, then also reviews are fetched initially now from the product hunt, but we are also including more review sites here. And here you see all your information that you entered into your market research back here. This is, you can immediately leverage. I have single big benefit of my product, single big positive outcome, single big time frame that I can achieve the result. And what on top of it is we are trying to create an KPI, or let's say score, which will tell you that how much on this left hand side the content that I have created is semantically connected with my original market research. So if I give you a score that this content here is 60% semantically related with your original market research, you should be happy. But if these scores come down to, let's say, 10%, that means either you have not done your market research or we are doing something wrong here. So that should trigger you that, you should be always aligned what you're putting out there on your website, to your social media, or this landing page is not for Google optimization, but just for your sales page, right? Still, it should be aligned with your market research. And then again, here you can also see what is going to happen when I publish this page on my website to the topic clusters that I showed you, those circles, right? You can regenerate here and evaluate the difference. Sometimes it's going to again give you a score. So it is going to tell you that in your coherent topic structure, are you going to increase that score or decrease that score? Of course, it is not like black and white. You need to again analyze maybe some things, and maybe we can enhance this process more. But still, it gives us a direction. It steers us to think, hey, we are not creating something which is completely off from our structure on our website. So what I not touched so far was this. I only touched this part, but this is AI content writer. Here, idea again is not to repeat the sales copywriting process, but create like blogs and intro of the blogs, and then create a content brief. So start with, let's say, initial idea. You select country setting. You select some kind of starting headlines. Here we are just in the start of this feature of this tool. We are going to add next this business FAQ section here. We are going to add how to create your LinkedIn intro page, because a lot of information now we have can be mapped, right? And if you have some ideas, if you have content scripts, if you want to add something here, please feel free to reach out. We should be able to read it for the, we should be able to integrate it for the benefit of everyone. And as you said, we'll be able to create our own. Yes, we also make something here which you can just drag and drop, and you can create your own script. So let me take this example. I have to click. I'm almost. Again, idea here was you can fill with example or you can fill with AI. Let me do it quick. So I have example. I got my initial headlines based on my initial inputs. Don't think them headline. These are like really kind of steering information to tell to AI what we want to do, like what we want to achieve. And it is a structure that is inbuilt in this formula of headline. So be it a blog or something, I use some initial example. It says how to scale content strategy without mastering traditional sales copywriting skills. Makes sense, right? So we are going to feed this into the process and we are going to generate additional information. So let's see how it goes. In the meantime, there's another feature called search engine optimization. And that's where I started that everyone want to start from here. But this is end process because if we do all these things very good, then in the present time, SEO is not about metadata, H1 tag, missing alt tag from your pictures. It's more about how you create quality content. And of course, this tool provides you some technical audit, schema generators. It can tell you that on the mobile device or on the desktop, you should do this and this to improve your speed. But the whole idea here is again just to give you some additional information. This feature is not supposed to replace established tools like SEMrush or Ahref. You can use those and just validate some information here. But focus here is not on the keyword or just like the way in the traditional SEO is done, right? H1 tag, H2 tag. So this is we are focusing in this specific section, semantic SEO, more on the like readability, reading age, reading time, content length, internal URL links, how we are using different content types on our website. What is the sentiment analysis of our content on this website? What is the depth of the information? This is important because you can see in this visualization, these are the orphan pages. They are not connected internally with a specific page. And these are the cluster content. So jobs or event gallery or a blog index. These are all clusters of the content. And when Google bot crawls, it also identifies a pattern. And if you don't have this pattern, it's random, then your users are confused, but also Google bot is confused. You don't see a pattern in your website. So it's important to understand that how we are going to structure different pages and how we are going to link them together. Then there are different insights that why my page has less than 1 minute reading time. What can I do for this? Where is the content length is missing? So again, I don't want to go to every aspect of it, but the semantic SEO is worth you guys wanted to try. Okay, coming back where I was. It wasn't that long that I need to go to other sections. It was just I wanted to cover that part. So now we have with our initial goal. I want to create a sales letter for B2B SaaS. I should have been very specific here or maybe much more better, but it has taken some input from our headline. How to create sales letter for B2B SaaS without mastering traditional sales copywriting skills. So this is the intro. This blog is about how to create sales letter for B2B SaaS without doing this and this. This is my target niche. This is my, again, this is my second headline. Now you see our results are getting impacted by the niche that we chose, right? Because in this headline, I didn't mention anything about virtual events. But since we are taking the information for market research, you see, get your virtual events on the calendar with these three proven tactics. Where it came from is just because in the headline we didn't provided such information, but because in the background we are pulling the information from our market research, you can see easily here. And that's what I wanted to deliberately show you, that all the information in the beginning is connected somehow. So virtual events, this is intro of this blog. Virtual events provide a way for SMBs to get the word out about their product and services. Historically, hosting an event was a time-consuming venture requiring more time, work, and budget than many SMBs knew what to do with. Nowadays, though any SMBs can use virtual event to engage their customer, blah, 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 right? So we got this headline, an intro, again a new headline, an intro, again a new headline, an intro, again another headline, an intro. And now all the headlines that were used here are also here in the beginning. And nowhere I mentioned it about virtual event, right? So that means that I wanted to deliberately show it because that means we are mapping some information right from the beginning and trying to make sure that whatever content we create has hard work, that you have done the hard work initially, is paying off here. Last 6 minutes, I wanted to just get your feedback.
I think the tool looks fantastic. I've been playing with it for a few days. As you say, it's there's a lot to go through. And that's why I really wanted to go with you today through an example. How much time do you think we need to be kind of comfortable with the approach? Because there's quite a lot of research and parts to complete before we can get something tangible at the end.
I would say that just play around with it and just fill only this information: niche, demographics, semantics, psychographics, this for information. And then just play around. You will notice that 50-60% information is already mapped, because this is key, right? Psychographics, semantics. And then you can, of course, continue this, because there are no such script yet which map what books they read, what tools they use, right? We are still integrating those. So, but still, right, when you do this exercise, it gives you a lot of information, because when you try to fill this example with some initial idea, generate insight, you are really preparing yourself also, right, for the validation of those inputs which goes into the scripts, which goes into AI content writer. So it's good to do this exercise, but don't think that you have to do everything to start seeing the results.
And my second question is regarding the abbreviations. So, for example, you use the SMBs for small and medium businesses. When do we need to use abbreviations or the full spelling? Do you have some rules?
Yeah, I think this really depends on how this abbreviation is known, because there is no such. We are using combo of Google and combo of AI, right? So most of the time, it should be able to understand in the context what is this abbreviation, right? But if it's completely abbreviation that you have made yourself, and even you cannot find in Google, then it will be a problem. But most of the time, you should be able to use abbreviation which is known to search engines, which is known to users. So I won't see any specific issue here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more suggestions, feedback, idea? You can be critical as well. I don't mind. We're just trying to get as much as feedback and make this valuable as much as possible. Can you show an example site that this was done on case study? Question 2, can we use different landing pages for the different personas? If I say our own website, then maybe you won't like the idea, right? I'll put this leancase.com. That was our second case study. Third, or there are a few more, but I will drop it here. Look at their blogs, look at their information flow. Maybe you will get some idea. And what I want to show is this whole information, right? The case study 1, case study 2, the whole this deck, right, is again mapped back to the information that is there in the market research and resonance. You will see this useful and unique insights, old way versus new way, activity 1. This is all there in this market research section. What are the old way of doing the same activity? What is the new way of doing the same activity? What are the old results? What are the new results? Maybe perhaps I can show some more examples later, but then I have to go through the example as well in order to justify it. Question 2, can we use different landing pages for the different personas? Again, I think here is an interesting question. As long as you are working in a very specific funnel where you can automate your buyer's journey. So it's a doctor's wife, and she is coming on this page following through a specific social media group, right? Then you can imagine that this landing page will be resonating to her. And there's another person who is coming, is commercial real estate, and is a director in a big company, want to expand the office space, right? Then the journey is separate, then that makes sense. But if you just create a landing page, 2 separate landing page, without a funnel and flow of the customer, then I think it's difficult to work with. That's my idea, at least. I'm not the expert here on this, but the way it's common sense approach, I think, if you think in this way, right? That why doctor's wife will be very intrigued and have curiosity in her if she is coming from a B2B event page or completely something different route, right? Is that answer your question there, Dave? Okay, great. I wish you very nice day further. Feel free to drop like your feedback on this Facebook group, which I'm sure for already generating quite different ideas. Feel free to drop any idea that you think, can make it valuable. Have a good day, America. Take care. Bye bye.